What's going on, guys? This is my post-ride review of the Honda Africa Twin with the dual clutch transmission. But before I dive too deep into the review, I've got to send a huge thank you to Hunter and the rest of the crew over at Stub Cycles for allowing me the opportunity to bring you this motorcycle. So guys, I've ridden adventure bikes from other manufacturers, but admittedly, I'm really not an adventure bike guy. But the more time I've spent with them, the more I'm kind of coming on. But here's the thing. The Africa Twin was always a bike that I had a little bit of a crush on. Maybe it's the styling or just the way that this motorcycle has been propped up by so many people that have owned them. I've always wanted to get my hands on one, and I recently got the opportunity to do so, and it was a ball. Guys, the Africa Twin's parallel twin 1100cc engine delivers power nice and low in the power range. And that makes the bike feel a little bit livelier than what you might expect given the weight of the thing, which is 550 odd pounds with fuel. Yeah, it's a little on the heavy side, but because of the lively nature of the engine and the way that it produces power, you don't really feel like it's all that heavy. It actually kind of feels a little bit light underneath. So for me, that was one of the first takeaways. I didn't expect it to be as spirited as it was given the way it looked on paper, but man, you get on this bike and you start riding it and you find out this thing is really good at getting down the road, and it does it in a pretty authoritative fashion once you start rolling into the throttle. The DCT, even in touring mode, is very intuitive, and as you roll into the throttle, it will start to downshift and shove you forward with a pretty decent amount of authority. So in that respect, that was pretty eye-opening for me. Now, this motorcycle would make a phenomenal all-weather commuter for anybody. The DCT transmission acts just like any automatic transmission you might be used to in a car. And so cruising down the highway, getting into traffic, things like that are going to remain stress-free with a motorcycle with this kind of technology because, well, it's just like what you're used to in any other car or pickup truck that you'd be driving anyway. The way that the suspension's set up, nice and cushy, no big jarring events, but yet it still can handle, and when you put the thing on the side of the tire, it is sure-footed. In fact, in the ride-along video, which I'll put a link to down in the description, as I'm getting onto the highway, there is a bit of dust and debris on the road, and as I'm rolling into the throttle, you may or may not pick up on the fact that it kicks the back end out a little bit. And this is in touring mode with most of the nannies in place. But yes, it did that, and it's very predictable. It's not going to do anything strange. And I thought that that was a lot of fun, and it made me want to get the thing off-road so badly I couldn't see straight. Intrusive thoughts enter here, right? But guys, I can see why so many people fall in love with this motorcycle. Whether it's the styling, the way that this machine gets down the road, or the general utility of this thing, it is really that good. And I can see anybody that is into adventure bikes having this motorcycle as a daily rider, running this thing out to their favorite fire roads, going out on adventures. This thing is going to be an awesome companion along the way. And with that DCT transmission, it's going to be stress-free. And I can't really stress anything more than that. I'm becoming a big fan of that dual clutch transmission, if you can't tell already. So guys, in a nutshell, loved the experience with this machine. It's not the fastest out of the group. It's not the sportiest out of the group. But for me, it's got everything in just the right measure. Whether it's utility, sport, or anything in between, I think this bike is going to be just right for you. And if nothing else, if you're in the market for one of these adventure type bikes, I would highly suggest checking this bike out, especially if you plan on putting tons of miles on this thing in any kind of an urban environment. And with that, guys, post up your comments. Let me know what you think about the Africa Twin. Do you have one? What kind of adventures have you found yourself in with that bike? I'd love to hear about it. And hope to catch you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by.